Good afternoon and welcome to the second in the series of the weight loss rooms that I'm going to be holding over the next 4 weeks. Wherever you're calling from, wherever part of the world you're calling from, welcome. I hope the weather's great. It's not too bad where I'm calling from. I thought it was going to be a better day, but it's still not too bad. But yes, we're here again, and it's really a pleasure to be here with you to share the information that I'm going to share with you today and over the next 4 weeks, because I'm so passionate about sharing this information, so passionate about sharing the kind of information that has transformed my life in ways I could never have imagined. Now, if you watched the podcast last week, I said to you to come this week with an open mind and a pen and paper. So I hope you have both of them. I hope you've got an open mind and you have a pen and paper, because I'm just going to share some information with you that may be counter to the normal narrative you hear, but it's information if you take on board, it can really, really make a difference to your health, weight and life. So, welcome to this edition of the Weight Loss Room. Yes, so we'll get straight into it. Now, if you heard me speak last week, you heard me mention the word sugar. I mean, some people just see it as something that sweetens their cornflakes, coffee, or something, you have in sweet, but there is something far more pernicious and nefarious about sugar. And that is going to be the focus of today's weight loss room. But as a reminder, I just want to show you the transformation that happened to me when I gave up sugar. Watch the reset. Every time I look at that, I'm still amazed at my transformation and how quickly it happened, and how when I gave up a substance that I just thought I could burn off in the gym, how it changed my entire life. And today I just want to give you a basic understanding of sugar, and then you can make your choice. And we'll do that just going through a little bit of a presentation. Now, sugar, most people see it, as I said, it's something that you put in your coffee or your tea. But it's far more than that. And it's about you understanding what actually sugar is and what makes up sugar. Now, I'm not going to go into the monosaccharide or the disaccharide part of sugar. I'm just going to keep it relatively simple and just give you an idea how sugar affects your body and what types of foods actually turns into sugar. Now, the irony of sugar is the marketing manufacturers have been absolutely fantastic in hiding sugar in your food. They have been wonderful. There is actually about 75 different names now. There used to be 56. Now there's about 75 different names for sugar. So when you're consuming sugar, it's not your fault, really, because the food manufacturers have done such a great job in hiding the sugar in your food. So when you look at the label, unless you really understand the different names of sugar, then you're not going to realize. I mean, you're going to see fruit juice on the back of something, and you can think, oh, fruit juice, that sounds harmless. I give fruit juice to my children. But fruit juice is a form of sugar. You're going to see corn syrup. You're going to see caramel. You're going to see date sugar. You're going to think dates is not a problem. So there are 75, in fact, there must be more than that now. So the first thing I like to encourage people I work with to understand is the different names of sugar. But also, whenever you buy a product, the first thing you should do is turn over the back and look at the back of the label. Maybe we'll go into a label reading session in one of these so you can really understand how the label manufacturers try and deceive you. But there are so many different names of sugar. So when someone says to you, you consume a lot of sugar, I say to you, sometimes it's not your fault. You just are unaware. Now, this is a guy called John Yudkin. He was a professor, UK professor. Here's what he called sugar. He called sugar pure, white, and deadly. This is a renowned professor. But in his day, there were so many voices that drowned him out. But he was absolutely right. Sugar is actually pure, white, and deadly. Here's another one over the seas. This guy's called Robert Lustig. And he called sugar a toxin because sugar is actually a toxin. And so these are two renowned people from different sides of the pond who have described sugar as a toxin, and sugar in all its forms. Now, there are certain kind of drugs that if someone said to you they were going to take, or your child said they were going to take, you would immediately stop them from taking it. No, this is not good for you. And one of them is cocaine. It may be a party drug that a lot of people use, but it's not a drug that you want to take because invariably the effects it has on your brain. Well, watch this. We have some neurotransmitters. One of them is a dopamine. And this is a brain scan, a dopamine brain scan of someone on cocaine. Just look at that picture to the left there. Well, it's on my left here. Have a look at the same brain scan of someone who's taking sugar. That to me looks quite identical. In fact, it is. Because sugar lights up your brain in exactly the same way as cocaine. In fact, some research has shown that sugar is even more addictive than cocaine. And the food manufacturers know it. And that's why they laden your food with sugar, because they know you're going to keep coming back for more and more and more. And high sugar levels lead to something called high blood glucose, because that is a form, or one of the forms, that sugar takes within your body, which I'm going to speak to you about in a moment. And high blood glucose levels affects your body in so many ways. I'm going to just go for a couple of ways it affects you, but it actually kind of rots your body. So continuous high blood sugar levels rot your body. And for anybody watching this who's had a parent that suffered from diabetes for many, many years, some of them you would have known may have had to have their leg amputated because the high sugar levels, it's rotted their body. I mean, this is something I was totally unaware of. I mean, when my mother had diabetes, she called it sugar. As far as she was concerned, it was something that everybody got as they got older. But this is far from the truth. But high blood sugar levels lead to so many things. Tiredness. It leads to depression. There are people who, it's something called reactive hypoglycemia, the carb crash. It just can make you tired for a day. High blood sugar levels can make you suffer from depression. I just mentioned diabetes. And these are CVD, cardiovascular events, so heart disease and stroke. These are all the things that high blood sugar levels can lead to when you consume too much sugar. And I just thought just for the sake of the parents out there, I mean, there are research showing that your child can suffer from cognitive decline if they eat too much sugar. So this is the nefarious effects of sugar, not only on yourself, but on your children. That's why you have to be aware of it. And, listen, we live in a world where we all want to look as young as we can. Sugar does something called cross-links to collagen in your face, and that removes the collagen. So when you eat too much sugar, what it does, it removes the collagen, and that's why some people get their wrinkly face a lot earlier. They have no idea. They just think maybe it's genetics, but often it's down to their diet. I just thought I'd put that in there because there are a number of reasons to give up sugar or reduce your sugar dramatically. One of them is definitely got to be this issue when it comes to collagen and the way you look. And I just thought I'd add this in as well for the men. High sugar levels also lead or can lead to impotence in men. So men, if you're watching this, listen, this is a serious issue, especially as you get older. Maybe another time I'll go into a little bit deeper, but definitely high sugar levels will lead or can lead to men suffering from impotence. Now, I did mention before about how sugar, when you eat things, it turns into glucose, but it also turns into a different type of sugar in your body called fructose. Yeah, so when you eat like fruit turns into fructose. When you eat refined carbohydrates, that turns into glucose. Now, it creates something called, so when you eat fructose, when you eat glucose, it's metabolized in your body. Glucose is the easiest form of, as you want to call it, energy for your body, but it's not the best form of energy for your body. Actually, fat is. But again, I can go through that another time. But here's the problem with fructose. And a lot of people will think, well, fructose is natural. Well, it is natural. It is a natural form in sugar. But high amounts of fructose, which is metabolized in the liver, causes something called de novo lipogenesis. Yes, de novo meaning the lipogenesis, new fat in the liver. And this is why a lot of people nowadays are suffering from what's called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, because it's an excess of fat in the liver, and often that's caused by the diet. When that was first diagnosed, doctors thought they drank alcohol, because normally fatty liver disease only happens to individuals who drink a lot of alcohol, but now they have something called non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So I just really wanted to share with you some of the reasons why you need to be cautious about sugar in all its forms. So, the question is, which one of these illnesses is not affected by sugar? Well, all of them are. All of the illnesses, from cancer, aging, impotence, heart disease, fatty liver, childhood cognitive decline, they are all affected by sugar, right? Now, if you're informed, you don't have a choice. I love that Matrix film. I don't know if you know the Matrix. Oh, you must know the Matrix. Everybody knows the Matrix. And you're given a choice whether you want to take the blue pill or the red pill. I kind of like to term, when you eat sugar, you're making that choice. You're either taking the red pill or you're taking the blue pill. And that is, so whenever I was looking at something sugary, I said, no, that's the red pill. I'm not taking that. So that's one way where I kind of played with it, made it into a little bit of a game, and stopped me from eating and also drinking sugar. Because obviously in Coke and lemonade and in even fruit juice, that's what we call liquid sugar. All right. So the question I like to say to people is this. People ask the question is, why do I get fat? And if there is, I'm not sure, I think there may be some notifications coming up here. I'll have to learn how to turn those notifications on next time. People say, why did I get fat? All right, that's the question people ask themselves. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually just going to come back here, just 2 seconds. And this is what I'm going to do. And just so to ensure that we don't get those interruptions again, I'm going to do this. See, yeah, just so we're sure we don't get those interruptions again. Okay, now we're back, so no interruptions again. So people then say to me, how do I lose weight? And I say, that's not the question you should be asking yourself. The question you should be asking yourself is not, how do I lose weight? But why do I put on weight in the first place? This is the question you should be asking yourself. Not how do I lose weight, but why do I put on weight in the first place? When you understand how you put on weight, then you'll have a better understanding of how you can stop yourself putting on weight and how you can lose it. All right. So I'm just going to give you a very, very brief overview of why you put on weight. Now, we all know about cows, and if you eat meat, if you don't eat meat, fair enough. But if you eat meat, you know that a farmer does his best to fatten a cow because he wants to get as much meat out of that cow as possible. What do farmers use to fatten meat? Well, if fat makes you fat, as the media would have us say, you would assume that they feed all their cows fat, wouldn't you? I think that's an obvious assumption. You want to get someone fat, fat makes you fat, so let's feed them fat. Well, they don't feed them fat. You know what they feed them? They feed them corn. Corn to fat them up. And what is corn? Corn is a carbohydrate. And this happens in so many areas because fat in itself does not make you fat. Fat will not make these animals fat. It's the carbohydrates that make these animals fat. So if carbohydrates make animals fat, what will they do to you? So we spoke about carbohydrates, and it's important to understand what is a carbohydrate. Everything you see on this screen here is a carbohydrate. The banana, the Coke, the bread, the rice, the sugar, and the pasta. They're all forms of carbohydrates. Every single one of them. The fruit is obviously a form of carbohydrate called fructose, which I spoke about a little bit earlier on. So when we eat a carbohydrate, what happens is enzymes in our mouth break down the carbohydrates into smaller molecules of sugar, which our body can use and digest, called glucose. You heard me mention glucose earlier on. But, you know, I mentioned fruit. So if you're eating a fruit, it will not turn it into glucose, it will turn it into fructose, which is metabolized in the liver. All right? So you got that. You eat refined carbohydrates, fruit, your body, or any kind of carbohydrates, your body breaks it down into glucose. If it's fruit, it breaks it down to fructose. Now remember, these are both forms of sugar. They are both forms of sugar. And in excess, they will be nefarious to your health. All right? So when you eat food, your body breaks it down into glucose, as you can see, except the banana. Do you remember I said the banana is fructose? So bananas metabolize in your liver, but the rest of the carbohydrates, your body breaks down into glucose, and it's used as your body for energy, all right? But the thing is, your body can only store a certain amount of glucose. It can only store a certain amount. Your cells, your muscles, they only need a certain amount of glucose, and your body can't store the rest, because what happens then, it shouldn't store the rest, because high blood sugar is dangerous. It's toxic to your body. So what happens, you have a hormone called insulin that is released from the pancreas that then goes to work to remove that excess glucose out of your body. All right? And what it does, it doesn't just remove the excess glucose out of your body. What it does, it stores some of that excess as fat. I mean, if you go into Google and you Google the fat storage hormone, you will see the word insulin come up. Because this is what insulin does. Insulin stores excess glucose as fat in your body. Now, that is a simplistic way of putting it. But insulin is a fat storage hormone. So when you are on your eating protocol, when you are eating a certain way, your mission is to not stimulate the insulin process to any excess. Because when you stimulate the insulin process to any excess, what happens? Your body stores that excess glucose as fat. So this is why I speak about a reduced sugar diet, a low carbohydrate diet, because what that does, that stops the insulin secretion in a way that it needs to store as fat. So my diet keeps my insulin levels stable as it can. And this is why I've been able to lose weight. And the thing about the insulin is not only does the insulin make you put on weight, but it also stops your body from using fat as energy. And in another one of these weight loss rooms, I really go into some detail of how fat is a healthier and a better source of energy than carbohydrates. How you can do so much more, how you have so many athletes around the world now who are realizing that they can run faster and longer on fat. That is for another show. But I just wanted to allow you to understand why you get fat. So now you understand why you get fat. You then have a better understanding in my mind of how you can, one, avoid it and how you can lose weight. Sugar is something you should say no to in all its forms. Do whatever you can to understand how sugar affects your body. And it's something you should say no to at every single option. And in doing so, I am going to show you one food. In each one of these weight loss rooms, I am going to do something called sugar smash. Let me do this over there. It's called sugar smash. See that? And in sugar smash, what I do, I'm going to take a food and I'm going to kind of smash it, as I say, and just to give you an idea of actually how much sugar is inside there. All right. So every time we do one of these weight loss rooms, we'll do a sugar smash. All right. But let me just share with you some of the government guidelines. So we're talking about, the government says 9 teaspoons for men, 6 teaspoons for women. That's the government guidelines. But they're talking about added sugar. They're not necessarily talking about the sugar that you will find within food. So invariably, most people eat far more sugar than that, especially with all the hidden sugar that's in your food. So this is the food I'm going to smash here. A traditional plate of rice and peas. I don't want to upset your Sunday, but I'm going to be real with you, all right? I know you've been having this. It's fine. I used to love rice and peas. Yeah. So this is about a plate of rice and peas here, right? 200 grams worth of rice and peas. So you have to ask yourself, how many teaspoons of sugar do you think may be inside there? Normally, I might have had people have a little guess and with some messages. I might type in the messages next week so we can play this game and you can guess. But you can guess while you're watching this. Here's a little clue. How many teaspoons of sugar do you think is in this 200 grams worth of thing? Have a look at that. 20 grams of sugar. 5 teaspoons worth of sugar. 5 teaspoons just in this plate of rice and peas. That is an incredible amount. And if you're eating that twice a week, but then you're eating the rice and peas with some potato, or you're eating it with some yam, and then you're eating it with some other stuff, you can imagine how many teaspoons of sugar you're having in just one meal. And that's just one meal on a Sunday. But when you're not aware, as far as you can say, no, rice is fine. Peas is fine. Well, I'm not saying everybody has to give up their rice and peas. I'm not saying that at all. I would be strung up if I said that. All I'm saying to you is this. If you have an issue with your weight, if you have an issue with your blood sugar, there are certain foods that you will have to either reduce or cut out. And I'm just giving an example of one of them that you may have to cut out because, carbohydrates affect us in different ways. But once you're aware of what you're eating, then you can make an informed choice. And that is all I'm going to try and do with you in these weight loss rooms, is allow you to make an informed choice about the foods you eat. So this is what this session was about. It was just about, giving you some enlightenment about sugar. And I really mean that. I really, really, really mean that. I mean, it was just shocking to me when I learned this. And some of it, I I did reject in the beginning because it wasn't what I grew up learning. But the facts speak for themselves. My weight loss speaks for itself. My pre-diabetes reversal speaks for itself. The thousands of people who have come to this realization and their weight loss, their cancer reversal, their diabetes reversal, their blood pressure reversal, their skin glowing. I mean, there is so many benefits from giving up sugar. And this is what I wanted this first session to be, so you understand what sugar is, because I'll be mentioning sugar very, very often over the next few weeks. So as we come to a close of today's session, I just want to let you know of a couple of things. I have a weekly podcast called Make Health Your Habit. You can find out about that podcast if you go to bodychangemaker.com. There's a tab at the top, and you can find out about that podcast. I've just done a really interesting podcast called What Type of Personal Healthcare Plan Do You Have? So if you go to the link at bodychangemaker.com, you will be able to learn about that. Or no, when I say learn, you'll be able to hear the podcast. And also, I'm really excited that I am holding a 12-week group coaching program that's going to go into far more detail than what I'm talking about here. It's called the Body Change Maker Reset. It's what I did to be able to achieve the amazing transformation. You know, you can end this frustration with weight loss. And it's a proven method. You know, this is all evidence-based. 12-week group coaching program that you're going to be absolutely loved. It's going to transform your life. It's going to make 2022 the best and healthiest year ever. You are going to, it's going to be life-changing for individuals. Just take a look at the program. If it's for you, it starts on September the 4th. Go to bodychangemaker.com and you'll see the Body Change Maker Reset there. And you could just take a look at that program if it is something for you. So that's today. That's the show today. I just wanted to do two things. One, kind of raise the awareness about sugar. You go and do your own research. You know, don't listen to what I'm saying. Don't trust what I'm saying. You know, you do your own research and then see if what I am saying is not the right thing. I will always encourage everybody to do their own research in their own growth and their own learning. But do your own research. But, you know, me, I'm Ken, the Body Change Maker. I'm just passionate about what I do, passionate about changing lives. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life speaking this message from the rooftops, that you can change your weight and your health without medication, without pills, just by changing your nutrition, your thinking, and your sleep. And yeah, I absolutely love it. So that's it this week. I will be back. When will I be back? I'll be back on Monday. I think I'm going to hold this twice a week. I think I'll be back on Monday. I was deliberating whether it's going to be 2 or 3 times a week, but I'll be back, I think, on Monday at 6 o'clock, and we'll do another weight loss room. We're going to another aspect of weight loss, and over the coming weeks, you're going to be surprised at the number of different areas that affect your weight loss. So I hope you came with your open mind, and I hope it's still open. I hope you came with your pen and your paper, and you just made a couple of notes that kind of might stimulate your curiosity. Go and do your own research, because you know what? Your body, and it's your health, and you're the one who has to take personal responsibility for that. You only have one body, so look after it. I'm just going to give you some tips and advice to help you along the way. Listen, it's Friday. I don't know what you're doing the weekend, but you guys have a great day, rest of the day, and a great weekend, whatever you do. And I will see you at 6 p.m. on Monday. Have a great weekend.